Grandmama used to pray, oh Lord, please save them from the evil snares and all the dangers that entangle. Yea, though they walking through the valley of the shadows, just prepare and make them fit for every battle, because I know they bound to come, and I know they bound to fall, but in your bounty, Lord, preserve their beautiful. Right, we still surviving off of grandma's prayers, surrounded by the jungle and the lion's den. Tread light, cause these traps is inconspicuous. They hide right in plain sight, thinking we don't see them when they linger. Look right beneath the surface, then leave a trail of corpses. Crisis, prices, your life a disposable commodity, like living in a fantasy, conditioned to believe that the system even cares whether selling CDs or walking or driving or reading. Look, they don't even need a reason, it's just you breathing and being black. When it's such a pretty fall, it don't seem like we falling at all, at all. It's just a GMO dream, where things are never really what they seem. Please cue the violins, tell them just to play me something pretty, cause this gritty city got me screaming bloody murder. Said it got me screaming. This gritty city got me on some. Look, get your hand up on my pocket. Distraction, so lazy they use the same tactics, like condom with some trinkets. Just don't let them get to thinking. That light bulb gets a blinking. You know niggas and ideas. Oh dear, my dear, you may not know me, but I know you very well. Foresight, they say hindsight is 2020. Well, tell me something, we gotta see that history is on repeat, and maybe it takes a beat and a melody to speak a little louder than the message in the clouds or the essence in the air. I swear, my God is just so clear that a system driven by fear can never give us nothing but more of the same things. Oh, when it's such a pretty fall, it don't seem like we falling at all. It's just a GMO dream, where things are never really what they seem. Please cue the violins, tell them just to play me something pretty, cause this gritty city got me screaming. It's murder. Got me screaming, got me. This gritty city got me on some.
Let me know you hear me. This is RSTV. Black Power Media is the platform. If you can hear me out there, throw a salute up in the chat. Throw a Black Power in the chat. Let us know you ready. Let us know you ready to rock. You know what I mean? If you can hear what I'm saying right now, if you hear my voice, let me know you hear us out there. This is RSTV, live and direct on Black Power Media. We got a heavy duty show today. We'll be talking to some folks from Imam Jamil Al-Amin's team. I'm a part of his team, of course, because I salute and honor Imam Jamil Al-Amin, formerly H. Rap Brown. So we will definitely be speaking to some of the comrades in the next 20 minutes or so. Also, I want to acknowledge today a few different things. One, today would be the 10-year commemoration or anniversary of the death or the transition of cultural icon Amiri Baraka. So we're going to open up the show with some Amiri Baraka. You know what I mean? Let you know what time it is with that. Also, we want to commemorate the recent transition of a couple of my favorite OGs, one being Kamal Cambone. You know what I'm saying? We say rise in power to Baba Kamal Cambone. We'll be playing something from him as well. And also, I just found out a couple of days ago, our good brother, Joseph Jazz Hayden, made his transition as well. So we're going to be honoring these comrades, these elders, these ancestors as well. But I'm going to kick it off for you all with a little bit of Amiri Baraka, because I think that Amiri Baraka wrote this piece some years ago called "Somebody Blew Up America." So I want to get it started with him because I think that it's about that time. We know that it's still relevant and it's still necessary. So we'll be right back with you. This RSTV. Tell a friend to tell a friend that we here again. You know what it is.
Dum 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 dum. Somebody blew up America. All thinking people oppose terrorism, both domestic and international, but one should not be used to cover the other. Dum 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 dum. Somebody blew up America. They say it's some terrorist, some barbaric Arab in Afghanistan. It wasn't our American terrorists, it wasn't the Klan or the skinheads, or the them that blows up nigger churches or reincarnates us on death row. It wasn't Trent Lott or David Duke or Giuliani or Schumer. Helms retiring, Helms dead. It wasn't the gonorrhea in costume, the white sheet diseases that have murdered black people, terrorized reason and sanity, most of humanity as they pleases. They say, who say? Who do the same? Who is them paying? Who tell the lies? Who in disguise? Who had the slaves? Who got the bucks out the bucks? Who got fat from plantations? Who genocided Indians, tried to waste a black nation? Who live on Wall Street, the first plantation? Who cut your nuts off? Who raped your ma? Who lynched your pa? Who got the tar? Who got the feathers? Who had the match? Who set the fires? Who killed and hired? Who say they God and still be the devil? Who the biggest only? Who the most goodest? Who do Jesus resemble? Who created everything? Who the smartest? Who the greatest? Who the richest? Who say you ugly and they the good lookingest? Who defined art? Who defined science? Who made the bombs? Who made the guns? Who bought the slaves? Who sold them? Who call you them names? Who say Dahmer wasn't insane? Who? Who stole Puerto Rico? Who stole the Indies, the Philippines, Manhattan, Australia, and Hebrides? Who forced opium on the Chinese? Who owned the buildings? Who got the money? Who think you funny? Who lock you up? Who own the papers? Who own the slave ship? Who run the army? Who is the fake president? Who the ruler? Who the banker? Who own the mind? Who twists your mind? Who got bread? Who need peace? Who you think need war? Who own the oil? Who do no toil? Who own the soil? Who is not a nigger? Who is so great ain't nobody bigger? Who own the city? Who own the air? Who own the water? Who own your crib? Who rob and steal and cheat and murder? Make lies the truth? Who call you uncouth? Who live in the biggest house? Who do the biggest crime? Who go on vacation anytime? Who kill the most niggas? Who kill the most Jews? Who kill the most Italians? Who kill the most Irish? Who kill the most Africans? Who kill the most Japanese? Who kill the most Latinos? Who own the ocean? Who own the airplanes? Who own the malls? Who own television? Who own radio? Who own what ain't even known to be owned? Who own the owners that ain't the real owners? Who own the suburbs? Who suck the cities? Who make the laws? Who made Bush president? Who believed the Confederate flag need to be flying? Who talk about democracy and be lying? Who the beasts in Revelations? Who 666? Who decide Jesus get crucified? Who the devil on the real side? Who got rich from Armenian genocide? Who the biggest terrorists? Who changed the Bible? Who killed the most people? Who do the most evil? Who don't worry about survival? Who have the colonies? Who stole the most land? Who rule the world? Who say they good but only do evil? Who the biggest executioner? Who own the oil? Who want more oil? Who told you what you think that you later find out a lie? Who found Bin Laden? Maybe they Satan. Who paid the CIA? Who knew the bomb was gonna blow? Who know why the terrorists learned to fly in Florida and San Diego? Who know why 5 Israelis was filming the explosion and cracking their sides at the notion? Who need fossil fuel? The sun ain't going nowhere. Who make the credit cards? Who get the biggest tax cut? Who walked out of the conference against racism? Who killed Malcolm, Kennedy and his brother? Who killed Dr. King? Who would want such a thing? Are they linked to the murder of Lincoln? who invaded Grenada, who made money from apartheid, who kept the Irish a colony, who overthrew Chile and Nicaragua later, who killed David Sebeco, Chris Hani, the same ones who killed Biko, Cabral, Neruda, Allende, Che Guevara, Sandino, who killed Kabila, the ones who wasted Lumumba, Malane, Betty Shabazz, Princess Di, Ralph Featherstone, Little Bobby, locked up Mandela, Deruba, Geronimo, Asada, Mumia, Garvey, Dashiell Hammett, Alphaeus Hutton, who killed Huey Newton, Fred Hampton, Medgar Evers, Mikey Smith, Walter Rodney. Was it the ones who tried to poison Fidel? Who tried to keep the Vietnamese oppressed? Who put a price on Lenin's head? Who put the Jews in ovens and who helped them do it? Who said America first and okayed the yellow stars? Who killed Rosa Luxemburg, Liebknecht? Who murdered the Rosenbergs and all the good people iced, tortured, assassinated, vanished? Who got rich from Algeria, Libya, Haiti, Iran, Iraq, Saudi, Kuwait, Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, Jordan, Palestine? Who cut off people's hands in the Congo? Who invented AIDS? Who put the germs in the Indians' blankets? Who thought up the Trail of Tears? Who blew up the Maine and started the Spanish-American War? Who got Sharon back in power? Who backed Batista, Hitler, Bilbo, Chiang Kai-shek? Who decided affirmative action had to go? Reconstruction, the New Deal, the New Frontier, the Great Society. Who do Tom Ass Clarence work for? Who doo-doo come out the colon's mouth? Who know what kind of skeezer is a Condoleezza? Who pay Connolly to be a wooden Negro? Who give genius awards to local homo local subsidiary? Who overthrew Nkrumah, Bishop? Who poisoned Robeson? Who tried to put Du Bois in jail? Who framed Rap Brown, Jamil Al-Amin? Who framed the Rosenbergs, Garvey, the Scottsboro Boys, the Hollywood 10? Who set the Reichstag fire? Who knew the World Trade Center was going to get bombed? Who told 4,000 Israeli workers at the Twin Towers to stay home that day? Why did Sharon stay away? Who? Explosion of Al, the newspapers say the devil's face could be seen. Who make money from war? Who make dough from fear and lies? Who want the world like it is? Who want the world to be ruled by imperialism and national oppression and terror and violence and hunger and poverty? Who is the ruler of hell? Who is the most powerful? Who you never seen God, but everybody's seen the devil. Like an owl exploding in your life, in your brain, in yourself. Like an owl who know the devil all night, all day. If you listen, like an owl exploding in fire. We hear the questions rise in terrible flame. Like the whistle of a crazy dog. Like the acid vomit of the fire of hell. Who and 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 who?
What's happening, good people? That was the Honorable People's Poet Laureate for life, now ancestor, Baba Amiri Baraka. I first met Baba Amiri, I think it was around 2009 or 10, out at a Black August. I participated up in Newark, New Jersey. I was up there with Deruba and some other folks. Shout out to Deruba. But, you know, I met Baba Amiri and his wife, Mina, back then. And a few years later, we ended up giving him, our organization, the FTP movement, we gave him the Lifetime Achievement Award, the first FTP Movement Lifetime Achievement Award over in LA. And that was in 2012. 2 years later, on this day, here today, January 9th, 2014, Amiri Baraka made his transition. So we wanted to, you know, we don't ever want to forget our ancestors. We don't forget our elders. We don't forget our freedom fighters. We don't forget our political prisoners, which is one of the reasons we're here today. Today, we're going to be talking about a number of different things. A little later on in the broadcast, we're going to have some of my dear comrades and family give us an update on Imam Jamil Al-Amin, formerly H. Rap Brown. You know, because of course he is a political prisoner, and we want to keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on when our brothers and sisters are behind enemy lines. Imam Jamil is one of the reasons why I'm in Atlanta right now. I came here to organize and to assist on that level. But there's been a couple transitions since you last saw me. First of all, happy Revolutionary New Year to you all, because I haven't been on the platform in a minute. I believe December 28th, Baba Kamal Cambone, another one of my favorite freedom fighters and elders, made his transition. He just had services a few days ago. I'm gonna play a speech he did on C-SPAN that was live, that took place probably about 10 years ago as well, if not longer. I got to get my dates in order, but I think it was a little bit longer. Matter of fact, pardon me, I think it was closer to 20 years. I think it was 19 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. This series piece he did on C-SPAN. And also I want to honor another one of our OGs that made his transition, Joseph Jazz Hayden. Actually met him with Dhoruba as well. First time I met him was at his house up in Harlem, and Dhoruba and him, they was arguing like they were about to go at it, but then I found out that's how they got down. You know what I mean? He's a real cool brother. Last time I seen him, I was actually on a panel with him here in Atlanta. I understand that he made his transition a few days ago. He'd been sick for a while, so we say, send revolutionary salutes to him as well, and the work that he did around prison, the abolition of prisons, and also some of the work he did up in Harlem. I know he had a film company. I don't have the name in front of me. In fact, he did the piece that we just saw with Amiri. But I'm gonna ask y'all to hold tight. I'm gonna play a little bit of Kamal Cambone. I might play a lot of it, as my daughter would say back in the day, because I think y'all need that, because I think sometimes we forget this is Black Power media. So I'm here to make sure that we keep this Black Power in the media. And ain't no slug I'm throwing at nobody, but I'm just saying I'm here for the freedom fighting, and that's all it is. Anything else is uncivilized. We're gonna be right back at you. It's RSTV. You know what it is. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe. Follow. I'm on another channel as well, RSTV. Excuse me, Riot Starter TV on YouTube, and we about to get started momentarily. I'm gonna let y'all check out some Kamal Cambone real quick, and I'll be right back at you. RSTV.
I want to say a couple of things, and I really don't want you all to miss me before we get ready to go. My wife was here, and she was the president of the Association of Black Psychologists a couple of years ago, and she was responsible for taking about 500 people, including about 300 Black psychologists, to Ghana, West Africa, for their national conference. The reason I point that out is because I want to say a couple of things, and I'm going to go out of bounds with what I have to say relative to what we've been talking about. First of all, I grew up in Brooklyn, and I saw, looking back on my life, I saw about 30 of my friends die, getting shot, overdosing on drugs, any number of things that took them off the planet, beautiful brothers. So as I started to become more conscious, I looked around, I started asking this very important question. I think the most important question that I ask myself and that you can ask yourself is why? And I wanted to find out what was going on. So I began to change. I began to examine everything. I don't like to use the word critically, but I started to really check things out. So I went through a very, very serious change. Serious change. And what my wife and I did, we decided that we were going to drop out from the system. We delivered two of our three children at home using midwives. She didn't take any medication. We didn't go to a doctor. She talked me into doing that, but it was a beautiful experience for me to be there to help deliver our children. They were born, by the way, 2 years apart on the same day, and our oldest daughter helped us deliver our children. We also changed our diets. We saw the hospital system was killing our people, so we changed our diets. We have been vegan for about 30 years. That means no meat, no meat at all in any form, no dairy products, no sugar, no white flour, the same thing that Dr. Whitaker talked about. Because we understood that we were in a war. And I want to emphasize that to you. We are in a war. We left New York and went to North Carolina, and really it's on her again, we decided that we were not going to go in debt because the new form of slavery was economic slavery. We got some land, we're very fortunate, and we built our own house. We built a log house. It took us 16 months. We worked night and day, every day for the 16 months. And she was out there with a chainsaw in the cold and the rain. And we worked and we built the house so we would not have to give white people any money. I taught on the college level for a number of years at a so-called black college, and I'm down against black colleges. I'm gonna tell you straight up, because some of the madness that's going on in these schools. But what I want to say is that there are two things going on the planet now. One is that when white people came to us and said, we're going to free you, we're going to emancipate you from the plantation, what they did was extended the boundaries of the plantation and made it an international plantation, made us think that we were free. In addition to that, they made every white person on earth a plantation master or owner. So there are two things in operation. We are in an international prison. It's not just in America, but everywhere we go, our people are dying. So the things that are in operation on this planet is that white people want to kill us. I want you to understand that. They want to kill you. And it has nothing to do with what kind of degree you have, what kind of car you have, what kind of title you have, what fraternity you belong to, what religion you belong to. They want to kill you because that is part of their plan. There are any number of reasons why they want to do that. I'm not going to waste my time trying to figure out why they want to kill us. But I know that's what they want to do. And they want to do it in many different
They really messing with me right now. Like, Lord have mercy. What's going on? I guess Baba Kamal was talking too rugged. And so we had to pause. Can y'all hear me out there? Looked like we was knocked off of that particular joint. Can you all hear me now? Cool, cool, cool. All right. Yeah, that was Baba Kamal Cambone. My apologies. I see that for some reason that particular clip just ended abruptly. And there's no need for it to end abruptly, but we here right now. It's all good. Anyway, this is RSTV, and y'all got the gist of it. So we want to say definitely salute to Baba Cambone, Kamal Cambone, on his journey, on his transition as an ancestor. We also want to point out Baba Ralph Pointer, who many of you know, made his transition very recently as well. And again, as I mentioned, Joseph Jazz Hayden. I think I gave y'all enough of the clips and everything. I think I'm just going to go right to our guest because she's been patiently waiting to rap with you all today. How y'all feeling out there? Everybody good? We all right? I'm hoping y'all good. If not, then, you know, we're not doing our job around here. But anyway, okay, I see a couple people said all right. Okay, cool. So anyway, I want to bring to the stage to join me tonight a sister, a mother, a OG. When we say OG, that means original gorilla. You know, someone that's been out here fighting on behalf of our people and currently fighting on behalf of our Imam Jamil Al-Amin, formerly H. Rap Brown. So I'm gonna have her join me because she's been, you know, waiting to come on stage. So let's welcome Mama Shafeah M'balia. How you doing, Mom? How you doing?
Oh, I'm tired. Alhamdulillah, brother. I am well. I'm well. And by the grace of Allah, I tell you, so many folks have stepped away and transitioned. We are grateful to be on this side. We are grateful to be on this side. So, yeah, and I'm grateful to join you. And I hope Baba Bilal hasn't, he's the one that said, Shafi, we got this thing to do. So I hope Baba Bilal is not jammed up on the weather. We've got bad weather on this end. I'm not sure what y'all got. So hopefully it won't mess with us or our connection. So
Oh yeah,
thank
yeah.
you
No,
for having us.
yeah, without a doubt. We had a tornado situation earlier today in ATL. I know you're not that far from us, you know, but you know, be safe out there, and we're gonna get the job done regardless, because that's what we came to do, right?
What we came to do.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. For folks who are unfamiliar, if you don't mind giving a brief bio, because with some unfortunate individuals out there right now, they haven't had the pleasure of hearing your voice or seeing your face or catching any of these seeds that you're going to drop for us. So if you don't mind, give
Uh,
folks a little background. We see Bobby Bilal coming up in the background momentarily.
good. Um, they probably don't know me because I'm not one of the ones that constantly look for the TV. So I'd rather, be with you and other folks on the ground trying to do the work. My name is Shafeah M'balia. I'm a member of the Imam Jamil Action Network. Part of what my responsibilities are is outreaching to folks across the South. We think that the South is critically important to Al Ummah and to our community, as well as the national Black community colonized inside the United States. I'm also a member of Black Workers for Justice and working in areas, the Women's Commission and political education and communications. And I'm a member of a couple of other groups. Part of that political education is establishing something we call the Commemorating, which is educational partnership with Black Workers for Justice. We have the Abner Berry Freedom Library that we are reestablishing with more than 2,500 books that focuses on the global South, labor, the U.S. South, and what it has to do with the liberation, the national liberation of our people, self-determination. So those are some of the things that I'm assigned to and responsible around. I've been very, very, very blessed in this life of having been able to sit at the feet of Queen Mother Audley Moore, and I call her the Queen Mother. And the one who established the struggle around reparations. Queen Mother raised reparations for Black people, from the 1940s. So she, till the day she passed, I believe in 1998, that was probably every third word out of her mouth was reparations. I only met Imam Jamil one time, and but I heard of him through members of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee when I was a teenager. And they talked about him, his principles, his his principled stances as a human being, as a freedom fighter, his courage, and the fact that he was one that always stood on principle and wasn't, even though he clearly has what some people would call the gift of gab, the intellect, the ability to really to have the sharp and the clear tongue, but it was much more than that. And so those qualities were things that were important to me, and that's what attracted me to working. And so, at any rate, that's one of the reasons. And then also did some other communications with Brother Mumia Abu Jamal in Philly before he became known. We did something called Black Times East in the early 70s. And so just, been out there and working. So that's me.
Man, that's right on. And this was Mumia before the Mumia we know now, as far as being held captive, correct?
Absolutely. Mumia, I worked with Mumia about 1971, 72, 73. And this was after, of course, he joined the Black Panther Party when he was a teenager, and he dealt with communications and was writing then. And so he had continued to write, and we used to do these 5-minute shorts on WRTI, the jazz station in Philly at that time. And it's funny because we used to get thrown off the air like every few weeks, because we would be, we would call it what it was. And so at that time it was we called it King Richard the Mealy Mouth. And but it was a time where, for example, Amilcar Cabral was assassinated. And we tried to concentrate on not only the question of the existence of political prisoners, but the issues of police, the international questions that are facing our people, and those types of things. Everything that was affecting our community. Mumia later on went on to work at WHAT. And I think he also did some other radio. In fact, there were some places he worked, they tried to tell him to change his name. They didn't like his name. But, Mumia is Mumia. And so Mumia, has always been true to the people, true to, the support that he so righteously deserves. And, we want him home. And it's only with, just like all our political prisoners, it's only with a mass movement when our people demand and we make it more untenable for them to be in than to hold them, that they will get out. So it's on us to free up all our political prisoners, from Imam Jamil to Mumia Abu Jamal. I don't want to start naming everyone. We have our Mandelas, and that's part of our charge, is for our people to understand that we have our Mandelas, and we are proud of them, and we support all of them.
No doubt. Definitely appreciate you adding on to the program today. I'm going to bring on Baba Bilal, who's in the wings right now. Baba Bilal, Sunni Ali. What's happening, Baba? How you doing?
Oh, Assalamu alaikum. Glad to be here. I'm doing well.
Yes. Good to see you on deck. Good to see you doing well. That's even better, right? So
yeah, it's certainly better to feel better.
Without a doubt.
Thanks for everybody's prayers, everybody's well wishes, and no doubt. whatever you sent, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, yes. So definitely, it's a lot going on. We just played a clip from Miri Baraka before you hopped on. It's his 10-year anniversary of his transition.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, and we've had so many over the past few weeks, really, you know, and but that's what
Mm-hmm.
that's what come with this earth, right? You know,
Yeah.
so I wanted to, I know we brought you all on today to talk about Imam Jamil Al-Amin, formerly H. Rap Brown, and kind of what's going on with him, what is the status, so on and so forth. So if you don't mind, Baba Bilal, because we know that you've been on here numerous times, we might have to make you a co-host or something. You know what I mean? So, you've been on here that many times. So
Oh,
I
okay.
want, I want to ask,
Yeah. I'm not really accepting too many new assignments, but I'd gladly, since I tried to bring you on WRFG for so long, I'll let you
man,
bring me on Black Power Media. Black Power Media.
you took it back on me, huh?
Yeah.
No doubt. Well, we have some Sunni Ali's representing. We got three of your daughters have a show on here. Y'all make sure y'all check out Daughters of the Whirlwind right
Yes.
here on. It's funny, I was about to say WFG. You got me tongue tied right now. Here on BPM Black Power Media, RSTV is this particular show, but they're on Black Power Media as well. So make sure you check them out. For folks who are unfamiliar, Baba Bilal, if you don't mind, uh, give us a an understanding of how you got involved in the Imam Jamil Action Network and your relationship to Imam Jamil Al-Amin going back to H. Rap Brown, if that's all right.
Okay. Well, I got being involved in it. First let me say, as Imam Jamil himself would always say, I seek refuge in Allah against misleading and being misled. I seek refuge in Allah against betrayal and being betrayed into ignorance by others. I ask the Lord to guide my heart and to guide my tongue as to everything that I'm about to say. And I pray that with the things that I say, the listening audience will find some usefulness to, will get some benefit, from. Um, I first I first met Imam Jamil as H. Rap Brown. I met H. Rap Brown, I believe probably in 1967. Yeah, in 1967 in New York, when he had come to New York to he had become the chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and the international office was in New York on 15th Street, and but he used to hang out all over New York. Um, he used to hang out and play basketball all over New York. So even though his office was downtown on 15th Street, you know, I'd see him uptown quite often. He'd hang out at not only on basketball courts but at clubs and bars. Although I never saw him take a drink. I'm not saying that he didn't take a drink, but I never saw him take a drink. But he used to hang out in bars where people hang out, or everywhere that people hung out. Uh, he hung out also, and not just hung out, but educated. He was always educating people, bringing people square one with what our condition is, and making them understand the things we were going through, the things that we were going through at the time, personally and otherwise, were all related to the major scheme of how we were doing politically and what was happening to all of our folks. He was very good at explaining that we were at war and how different aspects of how that war took place, and that's pretty much how we met. We stayed in touch with one another. One of the things that I would say about knowing him back in 1967 was that I hung out with a group of cats known as the QIY. That's the Queens Islamic Youth, and many of us in the Queens Islamic Youth we we thought about H. Brown as a Muslim, and we made dua that he would one day become Muslim because everything about him to us was Islamic. You know, he didn't lie. Like I said, I never seen him take a drink. So if he took a drink, he kept it. You know, he kept it to himself, and he definitely never showed us any of the detriments of drinking, like a lot of people out do, and a lot of people in the movement, unfortunately, not calling any names, but a lot of people in the movement, you know, they show us by example that uh, we shouldn't be using alcohol, we shouldn't be using drugs, etc. Um, but he never lied. I mean, he all when he said, I'll meet you at such and such a place at such and such a time. He'd be there. When you get there, he'd be there. If I don't I remember a time where he never kept his word. So we always thought that uh, because he was like this, um, you know, it would be good if he became Muslim, if he wasn't secretly a Muslim. That's what we used to think, that he's probably secretly a Muslim, probably got his shahada. But then when he did take his shahada on Rikers Island, we were overjoyed and been overjoyed. And then I was later overjoyed to stand behind him as he led prayer when I moved to Atlanta, and joined the community mosque, and became one of the brothers who were there and responsible for getting that community, or keeping that community, because they had already started before I got there, but keeping that community uh, uh, a sovereign community in terms of the integrity of the community. There was no dope selling. There was the crime was greatly reduced from an area that used to be called Little Amsterdam, because of the proliferation and easiness of getting drugs in Amsterdam. The West End, Atlanta, was called Little Amsterdam, and Imam Jamil changed all of that up. He changed all of it up, and I was, I uh, I made bayat. That means I pledged allegiance to him, and to the work that he was doing. As long as when we take bayat with someone, we pledge to follow that person in everything good that they do, as long as they remain on the course. And so far, he's remained on the course in spite of against many, many, many odds. He's remained on the course, and I intend to remain on the course with him.
I have a question for you because you mentioned that you all was you were overjoyed when Imam Jamil took Shahada. And I know that 19 years ago this month, actually, um, you were there when I took my Shahada. You know what I mean? So
No,
when you talk about Shahada and Imam Jamil taking his Shahada and you all being overjoyed, what does that mean for folks who are listening who are uncertain about, like, well, why would you be happy another man is going into the Deen of Islam? So if you don't mind, speak on that and what does that mean to movement? Because I think that oftentimes we have so many people that, that say that, I'm not into spirituality and I'm not, I'm an atheist and I'm this and I'm that and I don't get down with this and so on and so forth. What does that mean to our people's liberation movement? Because there are many of us uh, who have made that declaration. So what does that mean, and why is it important?
okay. It's starting to Your voice is starting to get wobbly. Uh, I mean, not your voice, but the technology is is not functioning properly. As far as function the way we would like it to function, it may be properly functioning that way on behalf of someone else who don't want us to communicate. But
Yes.
in the crux of the matter, first of all, when we say take shahada, that means shahada means to bear witness to the fact that there's one supreme being, and that Muhammad ibn Abdullah, may peace and blessings of Allah be ever on him, is the messenger, the greatest messenger and the last messenger of this one supreme being. And that's what it means when you do that, in order to join the ranks of those who call themselves Muslims, those who call themselves following the Sunnah, or the practices or the way of Prophet Muhammad, who I just mentioned. May peace and blessings of Allah be on him. Many of us have found that doing things according to that way is what leads us to success. So rather, it's always good to hear that someone has taken their shahada, or is close to taking their shahada, or that they see things in the same clear light that we see things in. One of the things that Imam Jamil always says is that those of us who are struggling, before we came to Islam, we struggled without a book, and now we got a book, and that book is the Quran, and so we use the Quran as our guide, and we use the Quran. We accept the Quran as the law, the law of the land, the law of the universe, and how we should conduct ourselves, how we should deal with one another. And that if we have this book, it guarantees success. So when we're overjoyed to see that another person has joined these ranks of moving toward the ultimate success of our struggle, which is to right all of the wrongs.
So to be a Muslim is akin to being a revolutionary. Is that what you
Absolutely.
suggested? Right on. And you can tap in
Um,
Shafeah.
yeah, like Sister Shafeah said, absolutely. And if you see somebody, and if you see people who claim to be Muslim but claim to not be revolutionary, then you need to examine that person, and you need to allow that person to have time to examine themselves. Inform them that they need to examine themselves, because that's what we call a complete revolution. The revolution which took place on the Arabian Peninsula 14 to 1500 years ago was a complete revolution. A lot of people think it as something that happened because it happened on the Arabian Peninsula, that it was about Arabs. But if you study, you'll find that the Arabs were not the greatest followers of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were not the greatest followers of him, but they were a group of people from all walks of life, all ethnic backgrounds, that lived in the Arabian Peninsula, who became the followers of this great man that I'm referring to.
And I want to ask real quick, and I know Mama Shafeah, you want to add on to that?
No, go ahead, and I'll jump in.
Okay, no. I was gonna. One of the things I was gonna ask is, what do you feel the attraction was? You had folks like El-Hajj Malik Shabazz. Current day, we have the Imam Jamils, the Rubas, the Sekous, the Jalil Muntakins, the Mumirs, so on and so forth. What do you think this? What was the draw, for lack of better words, when you talk about the jihads and so many others? We can go on and on and on and on. What do you think was the draw that drew these brothers and sisters to Islam? I'll start with Mama Shafeah,
Okay.
if that's all right, and we'll go back to you, Bilal, if that's okay.
Of course, I can't speak for the other brothers and sisters, but I can speak for those of us who were coming up in late 60s, early 70s, mid 60s. Baba Bilal's, well, he's got a few years on me, a couple of years on me. But it was, for me, it was first and foremost, it was Islam's giving human beings the right to defend themselves and against injustice and to stand for justice. At that time, in particular, the establishment was really pushing forward the question of turn the other cheek, and we were seeing Black people beaten in the streets. And for me, the very first thing that got my attention was the right to defend oneself, and then in studying Malcolm Al-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz and studying his life and transition, and beginning to dig deeper, it was about how Islam created the conditions for people to transform themselves and to develop themselves, and to do it in a context of understanding that you are but a grain of sand on the beach, and that there is vastness and a creator that is vastly that creates the heavens, the earth, and all that is, and that we are but a small part, and that all the egotism and the kinds of behavior that you might see other folks that were negatively affecting our movement, that Islam began to was a way of helping folks to carry themselves. I think I heard Imam Jamil say something, or I've heard that Imam Jamil says something like, speaking about COINTELPRO, is to COINTELPRO proof oneself, that you work on yourself in terms of your self-discipline and your emotions, control of your emotions. And when you dig deeper and look at the Quran, the Quran also gives us a way of both struggling with the negativity, negative side of ourselves, and developing the spirit of ourselves, the good in ourselves, and being and emulating that which is good. And so when you talking about character, that was a major part of what I see as attracting folks. I also saw that, it were those brothers in particular who, seemed to have the backbone that they stood for and would stand on principle and not move off principle. So, and you couldn't buy them with a drink. You couldn't buy them with, the green. They didn't go for that. They didn't go for the drugs that were out, they got put out there to destroy the movement, destroy our people. And so those are the things that attracted me to Islam. At that time period. Again, I can't speak for other folks, but I think that when we look at the Quran as a guidebook about how to carry oneself, and when you're following it, it allows you to deal with the internal and the external, to see it as a way, again, deen meaning a way of life. And so those things that many people get caught up. The other thing is the question of knowledge and seeking knowledge seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. And so, to the intellectual side and the heart, both the heart and the mind. So for me, it were all of those things all combined. I can't speak for Baba Bilal or the other brothers, but I see the transformation of people and how they carry themselves and what they do and how they stand. So I will throw those things out. And of course, I'm sure that Bilal will add more to it. And I'm sure you will too, Kalonji.
Right on, Barbara Bilal. You want to add on to what I'm sorry if you said?
Um, it's such a thorough discussion that Sister Shafeah brought. It's one one of the things that from the very beginning, I want to say that I think a lot of people unite with the fact that self-defense, self-defense, the the understanding that self-defense is something is a religious duty. A lot of people
Mm,
um, would be, would be off the track thinking that um, not defending yourself is somehow more righteous, but self-preservation being considered. Once you study nature, you learn that that's the first law of nature, and self-defense is a way to not is a way to guard against being destroyed, so that you're allowed to defend yourself, and that not only that you're allowed to do it, you have a duty to defend yourself. You have a duty to defend your mother, your family, your community, and that becomes your duty, your religious duty. And I think that's a principle that many that have been the drawing card for a lot of people to come to Islam. I think one of the one of the people often quote Hajj Malik Shabazz says, if in this quote he says, if someone he puts his hands on you, send him to the cemetery. If someone puts his hand on you, send him to the cemetery. I think that quote in itself is a drawing card to many of us who are involved in struggle. I don't know, I can't speak for when people get drawn to Islam, and and it wasn't the struggle for our human dignity, for struggle for our human rights that they were involved in. That's what I was involved in. So that's what drew me from from that point to uh, to check out Islam and to check out Islam further. And it also helps to have it in your DNA. Very close friends of mine, who many of you may know, were leaders in the Black Panther Party. That's Lumumba Abdul Shakur and Zaid Malik Shakur, and their father was a Muslim, and he was one of our guides, and as young people, he was one of our guides as young Panthers, as young revolutionaries, and he was part of an association known, a community known as the Ndaya Universal Arabic Association, and it's that's the oldest still functioning, not the oldest in all existence, but the oldest still functioning community of people following the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, of Messenger Muhammad, in the United States, and it's predominantly African, and it's older. It's older than the Nation of Islam. A lot of people think that we come to the we come like Malcolm came through the Nation of Islam, and many of us do. I personally didn't, but many people do. But this organization was out there, and people of African descent with African ancestry were taking Shahada and becoming Muslims through this formation for many years, over 100 years now, and we
mm,
have and we are, so it's pride to know that when you study some of the leaders of this movement, that they were involved in struggle in their communities, and so we have that understanding that the Muslims, the people that we see as Muslim leaders, were leaders not just of us who prayed with them, but they were leaders in the community. For whatever issues the community was facing, they were leaders in that.
I know you were referring to El Saladin Shakur, Abba, and for folks, for folks who want to learn more, I actually did an interview with Baba Bilal literally 20 years ago, and we entitled it Tupac and the Revolutionary Shakur Clan, or Revolutionary Shakur Family. So I think that's a very valuable interview, and I say that because I've seen it cited in at least 7 different books. So for folks who want to check that out and learn more about who and what he's talking about, I would suggest you go look that article up, Tupac and the Revolutionary Shakur Family. I think that was definitely a good piece, because I don't think at that time too many people was talking about, laid out the history like you did. So definitely appreciate that, because here it is, we're 2 decades later. I want to go to a quick break and play a song from one of our brothers and comrades, his brother Mike Chambers here in Atlanta. So we're going to go to that real quick. We'll be right back at you checking out RSTV. We have Mama Shafeah M'balia. Stay tuned. Here.
H-Rap Brown. Black shades, afro crown. Calm and collected, speaking that profound. Thank God, front line and one back down. Pause that poetic, H-Rap Brown. Cool cat, black shades, afro crown. Calm and collected, speaking that profound. Thank God, front line and one back down. Pause that poetic, H-Rap Brown. Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, known as SNCC, formulated in the 60s. The height of civil rights erupt in the city streets. No justice, just fighting for the liberty. Arrested for riots, but not before you heard the cry. Violence is American as cherry pie. Serving as minister of justice before the Panther Partnership end in abruptness. Organizing against racial attacks. Armed self-defense for a nation of blacks. With presidents he sat. Enforced potent gas. Organized registered voting acts. The young and passionate often will become activists. Killed by guns or savages. Far from pacifists. Clashing with racist nationalists. Government run by capitalists. Cool cat, black shades, afro crown. Calm and collected, speaking that profound. Thank God, front line and one back down. Pause that poetic, H-Rap Brown. Cool cat, black shades, afro crown. Calm and collected, speaking that profound. Thank God, front line and one back down. Pause that poetic, H-Rap Brown. Wanted and taunted by the FBI. Brown shot by a deputy and left to die. No answer needed, no question why. Just to survive, decided it was best he hide. OD, lay low obviously. Regroup and retroop possibly. A year later, shootout with NYPD. Arrested, convicted, attempted robbery. Upstate in Attica for 5 years. Guess the time helped get his mind clear. Reset the revolutionary pioneer. Came home strong with refined ideas. Converted to Islam on his deen. H. Brown, not Imam Jamil, Al-Amin. Moved to Atlanta, new on the scene. Opened the grocery store, got the community clean. Cool cat, black shades, afro crown. Calm and collected, speaking that profound. Thank God, front line and one back down. Pause that poetic, H-Rap Brown. Cool cat, black shades, afro crown. Calm and collected, speaking that profound. Thank God, front line and one back down. Pause that poetic, H-Rap Brown. A decade later, the year is 2K. Serving a warrant for failure to appear to his case. Supposedly deputies leaving his place. He was headed home, they meet him face to face. 2 cops shot, one was dead. From the hospital bed, mumbled and said, Jamil Al-Amin, the gunman alleged. Captured in Alabama on the run, he fled. Still in possession of the murder weapon. Body armor dressing for further protection. No alibi, whereabouts, words in question. Charged and convicted, no heard confessions. Sentence, life, no parole. 24 hours locked tight in a hole. 20 years later, hoping the fight is turning old. Light barrels keep fire burning in they soul. Cool cat, black shades, afro crown. Calm and collected, speaking that profound. Thank God, front line and one back down. Poised and poetic, H-Rap Brown. Cool cat, black shades, afro crown. Calm and collected, speaking that profound. Thank God, front line and one back down. Poised and poetic, H-Rap Brown.
Free Imam Jamil Al-Amin, formerly known as H-Rap Brown. What's the call? Free them all.
What's happening? This RSTV. That was our man Mike Chambers right there. It's what we need. We need some of that that movement music. We need folks to put it in perspective. Baba Bilal, we know that you come from, speaking of culture and music. We know that you are a renowned musician as well. As part of the Midnight Band with Gil Scott-Heron, along with so many other different sounds that you brought. I want to ask real quick, as we get back on topic, how important is creative resistance? We talk about the culture of things, because I think that sometimes folks think that you just have to kind of, it's like get with this or get with that. How important is that in movement, seeing that you've been around for a few seasons?
It's very, very, very important that that culture be a part of our activity. It helps to influence. It helps to culture helps to recruit people and get people in the mood. I don't know. I hope everybody got to hear it. I know on my device it didn't play. I just got a sign saying server wouldn't play the video clip, but um, but that refrain, cool cat, black shades, afro crown, poised and pathetic, H-Rap Brown. A lot of times when we at rallies and people we may be talking, and talking about Imam Jamil, H-Rap Brown, and people in the vicinity, not really paying attention. They just talk, oh, them cats over there talking about that stuff. But when Mike Chambers comes on, it'd be like if we in the West End Park, the whole park comes over, because it's catchy phrasing, Vanguard frontline won't back down, poised and poetic, H-Rap Brown. And when we do it, even though we've done it, we be trying to keep to a schedule. People will come. People who weren't even in the rally will come over and say, "Hey man, can he do that again? Can he spit that one more time?" So the culture is very important, and it's important that it's important to understand that culture is important, and it's important to understand how we have to polish our culture and make it be the best. The a good example of culture is what will attract people. If the culture is not, if it's not up to a high level, it won't attract people, and that's what we do. I don't know if you have another piece, but we're developing. We've been developing, as long as we're developing iGen, we're developing artists interested in iGen, and artists interested in projecting Imam Jamil's life. So we have some other poetry that we're gonna be coming up with, and hopefully have a show. We usually term that part of our rallies as rapping for rap. So we have a number of local poets, and we'll be doing within the rallies, and also as separate entities, we'll be doing those cultural ventures known as Rapping for Rap. One of the places is the place that you're familiar with in the Atlanta area. It's called the Black Dot Cultural Center, where we recently met with the folks over there, and they're very interested in pushing forward the campaign to free and exonerate Imam Jamil, formerly known as H. Rap Brown.
No doubt, no doubt. I'm glad that shout out to Black Dot out in Lithonia. And I want to point out we will be also bringing back Poets for Political Prisoners, because I think that it's necessary for us to rejuvenate. Over the years, we've been utilizing creative resistance as tools, to handle the business. But of course, we all get so busy, and there's so many fronts to fight on, that oftentimes some of the things get swept by the wayside. We have a whole lot coming up this year. And shout out to our organization, FTP Movement. This is our 20-year anniversary as of June 9th of this year. Folks, we want folks to make sure that you
Congratulations.
Yes, sir. And thanks to folks like you and Fulani for keeping us afloat and abreast, because they tried to knock us out the box 20 years ago, and it's only 20 years old. So we say that we're grateful for that, and we will have a hip hop, martial arts, and movement conference coming up the weekend of April 7th through the 9th. So we'll keep you all posted on that. I want to get down to the meat of what's going on, because we got a million things to do, but I want to talk about the update on Imam Jamil Al-Amin, what's going on, what's taking place currently, and how people can get involved in freeing Imam Jamil Al-Amin, formerly H. Rap Brown.
Well, I'll jump in, and Baba Bilal will follow me. First off, Imam Jamil Action Network was founded, first of all, of course, to free Imam Jamil. Also to stand in solidarity and support the freedom of all political prisoners, and those standing for righteousness. And then the third is also to educate, about our oppression and to stand for righteousness. We put out roughly a quarterly update. It comes out about 3 or 4 times a year, updating on the legal the legal case of Imam Jamil, as well as the different kinds of activities that people can and are involved in around the country, to raise up both Imam Jamil's presence, because one of the things that I always say is that we live in inside the greatest propaganda machine that has ever existed, in the face of humanity. It's almost like a soup, and we're marinated in it, and it comes out, particularly with our young people who are born into it. Whether it's TikTok and Instagram and the phone and the TV and the streaming and everything is just all this propaganda, all designed to raise individualism, to depoliticize the things that are the clear politics, the struggles around power that surround us, to keep us distracted. And so, one of the things we come out with is this quarterly as an update, that answer to show that not only are we're working for Imam's freedom, we are giving him voice, because the state in its deviousness has for 23 years now has tried to silence his voice. with an informal gag order, or actually a formal gag order, that started at his trial in the year 2000 and has continued throughout his wrongful incarceration. And so, and it's resulted in, number one, a lot of people not even knowing that H. Rap Brown and Imam Jamil are the same person. And we go out sometimes and talk to folks, and it's like, isn't he dead? It's like, no, he's not dead. And this is who he is and what he's done. And this is what he is doing. Past tense, he's very much alive, very sharp, very focused on what is right, and is still writing. In fact, I think Imam has a book that he's working on to come out, and one of the things that's in the latest IGN update, came out in December, is that Imam has a book has a poem coming out, Holy Cost. Not Holocaust, but Holy Cost. And it's available. It will be available through IGN. And it talks about, our responsibilities and what's going on, and, the differences, and what you just said, talking about creative resistance and what the current, culture and our stances need to be. So that's one of the things that's mentioned and connected within this update that we put out quarterly. We've also done a number of other articles, stances by Imam Jamil, as well as activities. So, for example, this travesty, this I can't even put words to Palestine, and the genocide, the crime against humanity, the atrocities that we are looking at in real time, to crush the Palestinian people by the illegal settler colony state of Israel, the Zionist state of Israel. Imam Jamil has, come out and expressed their solidarity, his support of himself and IGN and all who are supporters of not only against what is happening to Palestine, the Palestinian people, and calling for the ending of their oppression and for them to be able to determine their own destiny, as well as supporting Sister Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, and her taking up her post inside the U.S. Congress, of which, of course, they censured her, but the sister has stood strong, and maintained the positions of opposing what is happening against the Palestinian people, and calling for there to be a ceasefire, as well as and being consistent about it, and being consistent about representing her constituents in Michigan, I believe Detroit, and I think probably parts of Dearborn, in for a quality life, and showing the connections between the bombs that are raining down on the Palestinian people that we pay for, that they pay for, and the complicity of the United States, because it's not just Israel, but it's the United States. So anyway, I tried to hit a couple of birds with one stone. I'll throw it to Baba Bilal and talk about a couple of other articles that are in the current update.
Appreciate that.
Baba Bilal, can you hear us? He may not hear us.
Look like he might be frozen. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I know we're having bad weather in mid-Georgia and southern Georgia where I am. So we'll, hopefully he'll be able to connect back in. So as an update on Imam Jamil himself, we are still, I think this is going into the third year of the investigation by the Fulton County Conviction Integrity Unit into Imam Jamil's case. They have been very close-mouthed, but we do know that the Conviction Integrity Unit, which has the ability to step around the court system, is investigating Imam Jamil's case. They have interviewed the shooter in the case of which Imam Jamil.
Thank you. Very good. I'm very glad you started with that one, because that's a very timely, topical discussion. What's going on?
We lost him.
Yep, we lost him again. So at any rate, the Conviction Integrity Unit has had the case for 3 years. They've interviewed the shooter, the actual shooter, the person who not only did they confess, they did a verbal confession.
Right.
Prior to Imam Jamil's capture. They did a written confession prior to Imam Jamil's capture, before Imam Jamil was in custody. In fact, he was in custody before Imam Jamil was in custody, and they have ignored that. And in fact, even the FBI interviewed him while Imam Jamil was in custody. They've also, there's at one point in time that they claimed, or prosecution claimed, that there was physical evidence. And, we're reporting that there is no physical evidence that has found to be valid in Imam Jamil's case. And we continue to point out that the person who the police were looking for, their identity was, they were identified as being 5'8", 5'9", with coal gray eyes. And Imam Jamil is 6'5", with brown eyes. And so we want, those kinds of obvious things to come out. We understand that they have also supported the transfer of Imam Jamil to Georgia, back to Georgia, to be able to be close to his lawyers, the family, and to fight his case. And so that is where, but other than those things, they've been very closed-mouthed, and it's a lesson to us that it's about us making noise. It's about us pointing out who, as Brother Baba Amiri Baraka was saying in the beginning of this program, who is the one that is creating, who's setting up all the folks, who is the one who is killing all the freedom fighters, who is the one that's taking all the milk from the babies, all of those things. So it's on us to make the noise, to expose, to bring out the truth about what is going on. IJAN is involved in activities across the South, as well as on the East Coast. And Imam Jamil's name is being brought up on the West Coast. So we have children who've been writing letters, both to Imam Jamil, learning about who he is and who other political prisoners are. We also work together with other political prisoner campaigns. In particular, right now, Brother Kamal Siddiqui, right, is supporting Brother Kamal Siddiqui. And let me see if there's a number of other things that are in this edition. On Imam's birthday, we did a number of activities. His birthday was October 4th. And I was really, really, and I'm going to throw it to Baba, I think he's back, really honored to have an interview with Sister Mae Jackson, one of the major poets coming in out of the movement out of the South, coming out of SNCC. And it just happened that not only did she work with Imam back in the day, but she was also a mentor of mine. So we were real excited to talk together about Imam Jamil on his birthday, and talk about the kind of work that he did in Alabama, and how he spoke to power then. So those are some of the things. In Atlanta, there was a car caravan around the state capitol, because it is the state of Georgia that is opposing his transfer. And with that, I'll throw it to Baba Bilal, if you can hear me. Nope.
Oh,
Going again.
We have a few more minutes left.
Yeah.
Technology is doing its own thing right now.
Right.
But I think the people are getting the gist of what's going on. It's funny, whenever we start talking about anything, for some reason technology just swoops in.
Starts acting up.
Yeah, Baba Kamal was talking. He started talking about exterminating white folks, and everything just
disappeared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
so we wanted to say that that IJAN is, it is not just for Muslims. It's open to anybody who stands for justice for Imam Jamil, who stands for the freedom of all political prisoners, and who stands against oppression and for justice and for right and for righteousness. There are 3 ways to help support the work. First of all, actually 4 ways. First of all, we need your body. We need your body, we need your mind. We do wish to, establish contacts and network and committees around the South. And the way that people can join is by contacting IJAN at 1-833-999-IJAN, IJAN. That's our national phone number. That number again is 1-833, and we'll repeat it later, 999-IJAN. You can write a letter to Imam Jamil. One of the things that the state always does is try to isolate those brothers and sisters behind the wall. And with the newsletter, we give out Imam Jamil's address. You can write to him. He will write you back. You can donate. You can donate to his defense fund, the legal defense fund. You can, which goes directly to him, and it deals with the legal side, the legal aspect. And there's a separate fund for the general work of education and organizing out in the street that goes to IJAN. And then you could also donate to Imam Jamil's commissary. The prison industrial complex makes you pay for everything. It makes money off of everything. It commodifies everything. It makes you pay to talk to your loved one over the phone. It makes you pay to see, have a video phone. It makes the prisoners pay, for the basic necessities that they need. Toothbrush and toothpaste and those things. It makes them pay for at least halfway decent, healthful food. And so, it's really important that that brothers and sisters, commissaries, before we in IJAN, we donate to Imam Jamil's commissary on a regular basis, but you can too. So to find out more information on how to join, how to support, how to make donations, 1-833-999-IJAN. And we welcome folks to participate in that with us across the South and around the country. We do have contacts in Philly, DC, Oakland, in the Bay Area, Atlanta, South Carolina, contacts in Alabama, New Orleans, and folks who are putting information out about the work that, who Imam Jamil is, the work that he's done. And, the other thing is that it's about Imam Jamil, of course, his freedom, his body, himself. It's also about, he always says, use his name to increase our level of worship, to increase the level of struggle. And I think that is really, really, really important, because our movement is not about one man. It's not about, it's about justice. It's about righteousness. It's about, justice for our people, all of our people. I think there's an organization up in North Carolina called, All of Us or None of Us. And that's how we got to move forward. So Because if you can hear that, that's my phone telling me to drink water.
So good. Well, we need that. We need water. But
Yeah, water.
we definitely want to get you and Baba Bilal back on deck. Uh, Unfortunately, our time is limited today because they got me running a marathon in my
Brother, we're
mind.
so grateful. We are
Now,
so grateful.
I mean, I'm grateful.
And
Yes.
Imam Jamil, I just want to say that Imam always sends his gratitude and gives thanks, to those who, who contribute materially, mentally, gives dua, spiritually, who support. He gives his thanks, he gives his gratitude to everyone who has helped and everyone who stands righteous.
I mean, and definitely give Imam the greetings and my salams as well. And, that same applies to you and Bob Bilal. We love y'all. Looking forward to to getting out here and hitting this pavement a little bit more. I think Imam Jamil just turned 80 years old.
Yes, he
You know,
did.
yeah. So we don't want to wait like it's been with so many different cases where he's they let him out in the twilight. You know what I'm saying? We still need him out here rumbling. What is that website? Is it Free Imam Jamil?
The website is imamjamilactionnetwork.org. IMAMJamilActionnetwork.org. And the phone number again is 1-833-999-IJAN.
No doubt. We appreciate y'all for coming on board, and I will see you in the whirlwind.
In the
Stay on
world,
the right side of the barricades, and we'll win in spite of ourselves.
in spite of ourselves.
Right on.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You are checking out RSTV. This is Black Power Media. And we've just had Shafeah M'balia and Bilal Sunni Ali both talking about the case of Imam Jamil, amongst other things. If you tuned in late, make sure you hit that rewind button. Again, we want to salute all the freedom fighters. I got a couple updates real quick. An update from Mama Dekwe. Baba Sekou Odinga is back in the hospital on ICU and on a ventilator. He's up and down while his body works to heal and recover. And they send thanks to everyone for their prayers, meditation, well wishes, and love. And Sekou and Dekwe appreciates you, is what they said. Also, good brother Daruba, he is out of the hospital as well. Of course, he was hospitalized for 3 days. He's doing better. He has his mobility back, and he thanks you as well for contributions for his particular crisis. There's so many others. Also, shout out to my comrade Balogun Oj Tade, who is also in the process of healing. Hopefully, you'll be able to catch him and others on this Thursday. Let me throw this flyer up here for y'all if it's okay. This Thursday, there's a panel discussion, and that particular panel discussion is called Survival Preparedness in a Police State, and it's a panel dealing with practical solutions along with testimonies from families of victims of police terrorism. It's hosted by Shar Bates and Rue Clark, with a number of different, like I said, family members, attorney Tiffany Roberts, Balogun, our brother Dexter Doc Pagans, and myself. We will be in the Atlanta area. So if you all are available, come check us out. Come learn something. We are talking about that critical political action, not just rapping for the sake of rapping. So we want y'all to make sure that you tune in and check out the National Coalition to Combat Police Terrorism. Again, if you missed the flyer, you can go to Black Power Media on Twitter, or go to my page, Kalonji Changa, on Twitter as well. You see my name right here, and you can keep updates on what's going on the ground. You know, we're not just some folks that appear on camera, you know, for the sake of being seen. You know, we like to get out there and do what needs to be done. So make sure that you come out there and join us in this in building a revolution. So make sure you know, you all stay safe out there. I want to close out. I mentioned that another one of our OGs transition, Joseph Jazz Haynes made this transition a few days ago. So I definitely, excuse me, Joseph Jazz Hayden. I don't know why I said Haynes. Made his transition a few days back, and we want to send our well wishes to the family and love. So I want to close out with a talk he gave in New York some years ago around banning and the abolition of the prison industrial complex. You're checking out RSTV. Make sure y'all continue to support the work we're doing. Follow us and subscribe at Black Power Media, and also Riot Starter TV on YouTube. Till next time.
Michelle Alexander wrote a great book. In that book, she described the problem. What we need to be talking about now is the solution. You know, and in order to talk about the solution, we're going to have to take control of this whole narrative about justice and about what's fair and all this poppycock, man, that they put in our heads from the time that we were in kindergarten. You know, about this and all this talk about this being an exceptional nation. You know, we have to change this narrative. We have to take control of this narrative. We can't, as long as we continue to talk using their language and their definitions of what reality is, we're lost. The question becomes for us now, in terms of solutions, is how do we get rid of all of these things that divide us, all of these disconnects. We have so many different views of what it is that should be done, but what we lack, I think, is a common vision. And the Bible says, without vision, the people perish. We don't have a common vision. For the last 40 years in New York State and probably around the country, we have had what a friend of mine calls boutique activism. Boutique activism is when everybody picks out a piece of the problem and focuses on that part of the problem. It could be 100 people working on drug policy, and the only ones they talk to are the funders. They don't talk to one another. They don't talk to one another. There's no horizontal integration. Only thing they're concerned about is where the funding is coming from. Now, those of us that have been out here and worked with these organizations, if you go around and ask these organizations what is the one thing that they've done to improve the conditions of the people that they're working for and the communities that they're working for the most part, you're going to get silence. You're going to get silence. And I'm not knocking these organizations, you know, because movement and the consciousness it takes to build movement is a process, right? We try reform, but we've tried it for 40 years and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. The prison population went from, in 1970, from 300,000 to 2.4 million today. The largest prison population in the history of humankind. And they say, if you always do what you always did, you always get what you always got. Right? So we need to change, and we need fundamental change. Now listen, as Cornell said, you know, we don't agree on everything. I've been to prison since I was 16 years old. I've been in state prison, I've been in federal prison, and I was born in Harlem Hospital. You know, so I was born into a prison. You know. So when I talk about prison, I'm not talking about something from an academic perspective. I'm talking about, man, I experienced this. You understand? Solitary confinement, I experienced that. Right? Denial of the right to vote and being treated like a piece of garbage, I've experienced that, man. And so I was in Attica the year before Attica went up. And we organized and we came together. There was everything, everybody in there. I mean, every movement that was taking place in the streets, the Black Panther Party, the Young Lords, the Weathermen, the SDS, all of them were in there. And as we began to educate and organize ourselves, we realized, man, that we had to get rid of that whole alphabet soup of Black Panthers, BLA, Young Lords, Weathermen, SDS. And we got rid of all those labels and we came together as one and we called ourselves the People's Party. The People's Party. And that's what you saw when Attica went up. That's what you saw in that yard. Fortunately, I was shipped out of there 6 days before the place went up. But the preparation that went into building the solidarity that we had took place for a year before that, man. You know, it took place, it came out of the tombs. You know, when the tombs went up in smoke. And they moved us all to Attica. But now, out there on the West Coast, they doing the same thing. They're eliminating all those labels. White, black, Latino, Asian, Indian. And they've agreed to eliminate them so that they can begin to speak in one voice, just like the people that have them in them cages. They speak in one voice. All the people in power during Attica Rebellion, they spoke in one voice, right? And they met prisoners that spoke in one voice. Why is it that we don't seem to learn that lesson, man? Why is it we continue to see ourselves as the only right way? Why can't we connect the dots? We talk about prison, man. Like I say, I've been in prison. The only thing a prisoner wants is out. He don't want no flat screen TVs in the visiting room. He don't want no, children playpens. He wants out. He wants to go to his family, huh? He wants out. That's what prisoners want. So everybody that's working on issues of reform and trying to make the prison a better place to live, listen, that's not what prisoners want, right? And this whole issue that these false dichotomies that we keep engaging in, man, children in prison, women in prison, old people in prison, they are human beings in cages. That's what they are. That's what they all have in common. They're human beings in cages, man. You know, and this is what we got to start, we got to take control of this language, man. We got to take control of this narrative, man. We got to start eliminating the things that disconnect us, that divide us. You know, until we do that, until we begin to connect the dots, we are finished. We ain't going nowhere. The only movement we're going to have, in the words of my friend Jamal Joseph, is a bowel movement. Thank you.